Hey guys, just trying to bring up the comments on YouTube. One of my neighbors is having the audacity to have his gardener work on his yard, and my dog is not happy. Can you tell by how he's barking? I always think I'm prepared for these things before we get started, and I'm really not. Let's see. Always seems to take a minute to show up on the playlist on YouTube. I don't know what the heck is going on. I don't know what that is. I didn't click on that. Stop. Okay, thank you. Seriously. It's always funny. I'm always telling you guys I'm trying to find myself. It sounds like I'm having a midlife crisis. I'm really not. But I can't see the chat if I don't do this part. Yeah. Somebody's watching. Somebody's watching me. I can't watch myself on my iPad because I can't find it. It's like there's a delay. I know there's a delay from what I say to what you guys see, but there's also delay in it showing up on the feed. We can't really get started until I can see the comments. So we'll just keep working on that part. There seems to always be an issue. Come on. Let's see if I go to here, which I don't really want to do, but is it showing me live in there? Oh, yeah, there I am. Woohoo! Hi from Sweden. Hey, hello. Sana and Aline. Hello, good morning. So we're going to work on some more swatches for our product review swatch book. This morning we're going to work on Prima and Prang, which are both affordable brands. I was going to do Peerless too, but I don't want to try to. Doing 3 brands is difficult. Hey, Michelle. And I thought this morning it might be nice to focus on 2 kind of affordable, easy to get brands. So we're going to do that. So first we have Prang, and Prang makes kids watercolors. They also make this these semi-moist watercolors, which are still probably technically a kid's watercolor, but they're a little better watercolor. And they do have some light fastness, although neither one of the brands we're working with today, although they both say they're light fast, neither one of them say how much light fast they are. So I don't know. But this is the this isn't the traditional Prang children's cake set. This is the semi-moist. They actually come in little half pans that you can take out like a regular artist watercolor. The pans are a little different shape, but it's similar. And this is the 16 half pan set. I got it from Amazon. Yeah, we're going to do the Prima this morning, Aline. I got these on Amazon. I think they were like $10 or $11. They weren't very much. Both of these brands are pretty affordable. Now, the Prima, as you all know, if you've been seeing them, and I want to do this first because I want to explain this. So the Prima, as you know, if you've seen my videos and everybody else's videos with the Prima, they come in a small half pan box. Let's see. Like this one. This is an empty one from Jackson's Art. So they come in a box like this, right? And each one of their sets, they have the classics, tropicals, and decadent pies. And they each come in their own little box like this. That makes me crazy. I want all of my brand of that paint in one box. So that's what I did. I put all of my brand of Prima in one box. I unboxed them and I put them all in this large 48 pan box. And this does have room to grow. So at some point, if Prima adds more colors, I can get those and add them to here. So I have them. Now, these don't have color names. Hey, Mary. The Prima don't have color names. They have color numbers. So we'll have to work with the color. We'll have to work with that. But I just wanted to explain why my Prima paints weren't in the small box. That small box I like, but there's 3 different sets of paint, and I wanted them all in one box. So I already pre-drew my blending charts and my little houses and everything. If you want to get copies of any of the swatches or anything that I've done, you can download them all off of my Watercolor Wednesday page. And after today's broadcast, I'll link the Prang and Prima websites along with updating the images to add these swatches that we do today. Thank you. Yeah, yeah, well, I have a lot of issues. A little obsessive compulsive is one of them. And having those 3 separate boxes and misplacing one of the sets, which is probably going to be that day the one that I want to use, I could just see that causing a whole bunch of problems. If you only are going to get one set, then you're going to be fine. And I love that the Prima comes in a proper metal watercolor box with a traditional normal sized half pan. So at some point, if you run out of a certain color and you want to replace it with, instead of Prima, a snail color, you want to squeeze some from a tube in there, or Daniel Smith or something, you could do that and you could use the same box. The box is great. Hey, Michael, how are you? The box is great. And yeah, the Prima are not horribly expensive. Neither one of these brands are horribly expensive. I think a lot of us are that way. Okay. And we're going to use our watercolor brushes from Royal. I need a rag. I forgot a rag this morning. Okay, these are the Royal Zen brushes, and this is the number 8 round. I already have blue stuff on me. Where the heck? I already stuck my fingers in something. I'm good. You know, I'm good. It's been a crazy morning already. It always is. Mornings are always crazy for me because I'm always trying to squeeze in coffee, YouTube time, gym time, and chores or errands all before I go live. This morning I managed all of them but chores. I figured the dirty laundry and dishes could wait until we were done. All right. And I have to catch up on YouTube comments. Okay, so the Prang has, their little pans aren't marked, but they have this little like paper swatch thing in the inside. Oh, see, I already stuck my finger in something again. And I haven't made a color key because I just got this. It just came in. So we're going to, let's see. They just have basic colors. So there's only one yellow. Oops. I am just really messy this morning. Exactly. I don't need to do chores are still going to be there. The dirty laundry and the dirty dishes, they're not going anywhere. And you know, I've been really hard trying to exercise and eat right. And at night, frequently, I just eat salad or vegetables or something like that. And when I cook, I just cook for the family. So the way I look at it, those dirty dishes aren't even mine. You know, if they don't get done right away because they don't want to do them, I'm not going to worry about it too much. So we'll do the Prang first. And I've lost about 3 pounds, by the way. Yellow number 5. Now these have names and numbers. And then let's see, yellow. We have orange and yellow orange. Let's do the orange. Yeah, see, I wish I could get my kid to do the dishes and stuff. She's not here enough. Green number 9. Thanks. You know, my blood sugar is a little high, although it's not been higher. It's not higher than it was last year. But, you know, I definitely have diabetes in the family, and I'd rather not get that. So this year, I'm really determined to get it under control. Getting sick and hurt at work kind of threw me off of my game. So, and it's been a struggle since then. So I'm working on it. All right. So I've heard good things about these pranks, and I haven't done a color, you know, a color key or anything. So I'm excited with the first brush of paint to see what they do. Wow, they're pretty creamy. Look at that yellow. Wow. These are the other yellows. These are the this is the first 4 brand chart that I made. You know, it freaks me out every year. My daily blood sugar is fine, but I only just started really watching what I eat, and my doctor does that long, what is it, 6 month? I don't know. It takes a while for the changes to show up in the blood test. So I'm, you know, it's not worse than it was last year, but so I'm just going to keep at it. I'm not going to let that discourage me. You know, frequently when I write my daily thoughts in the Facebook group, I am not lecturing you guys. I'm lecturing myself. I don't know how many of you who don't know me that well realize that I'm actually speaking to myself. The orange is okay. I really like the yellow. Red. It might just be the orange is dry. I need to maybe put some more water in that orange. Look at that red. Isn't that a pretty red? Let's put some more water in that orange. I haven't gotten an official diagnosis yet, but I'm just treating it like I am. Between getting hurt at work and having asthma and everything else that's happened to me since 2012, I never used to mind going to the doctors, but no, yeah, that's changed. They're not my favorite people. It doesn't matter how nice they are. Okay, blue. And drinking tea and doing art keeps me out of the, cookies. Okay, violet. That's a dark purple. It's pretty though. Look how dark it is. So those are pretty well pigmented. Now they're a little flat in tone, but we'll do some more color blending. It's like I have a hair piece of fuzz on the end of my brush. So that's the Prang, and then let's do the Prima. Now again, the Prima do not have, they don't even have names. They just have color numbers. So let's find some color numbers that work. So we have a number 5, which is a yellow. Let's do 17, which is an orange. And then number 3 is a nice red. Number 6, number 8, and number 9. Okay, so, and I think these, I did spray them, but they look a little dry again. Sometimes with cake watercolors, you need to really spray them a couple times and let them soak a few minutes in between times to really get them moist. And with pre-made cake watercolors, like the pans tend to be really super full, which I think I've already said in a video I don't care for. I like to fill my own pans because I can make them 3/4 full and the water has somewhere to go. So this is the Prima. And then orange. Oh, that was the wrong orange. Well, that's all right. That's a different orange. So that's number 4. Oops. Because see, I'm reading the comments while I'm painting. Number 3. Yeah, when your blood sugar is above normal levels and kind of stays there, they diagnose you as pre-diabetic. And if you don't get it under control, you'll become diabetic. And for most of us who do art, yes, we could change what we eat, but we don't move enough, because we're sitting on our butts painting all day. Movement's really the key, getting your exercise. Hence going to the gym as many times as I can squeeze in during the week, no matter how crazy it makes my morning schedule. So these are our Prima colors, and aren't they nice? Here's our other colors by comparison. Schmink, Daniel Smith, Mission Gold, and Mayberry Blue. Here's our Winsor Newton, Van Gogh, Holbein, and Coir. And then these are the ones we did last week, Grumbacher, Sennelier, and Coy. So they're not bad. They're, they're not Daniel Smith or Schmink, but they're not bad. And when you're on a budget and you're not even sure you're going to like watercolor and you're just going to do cards and tags anyway, or mixed media, I think one of these will work fine. And the Prang, they're really affordable. Yeah, just remember to, if you're going to eat sugar, eat natural sugar, i.e. piece of fruit, but try to limit that and eat more vegetables and lean proteins and move. The biggest thing is just move. All right, let's do a couple little sample paintings. But let's not go too far with that because I'm going to have to remember I want to use the same colors I already swatched. So let's go back to the Prang. And we'll start lightest to darkest, like we always do. So decide where your light's going to hit your painting. And this will tell you more about the paint than just doing a swatch will. How well does it blend with the other colors? How easily? How does it lift when you want to blend it with just plain water? How well does it do that? Crayola will work until you figure out if you even like them. I agree with that. I started out with a set that's similar to Crayola or the Prang set. There's nothing wrong. In fact, up until not long ago, I had the Prang makes a, I think, metallic set and a glitter set of watercolors. And I had those in my travel kit up until recently. Yeah, these are non-toxic watercolors. You don't have to worry about any of the pigments being toxic if you're going to be doing art with kids with the Prang set, or something like Crayola's. Even the Prang semi-moist. And these are, like I said, these are pretty well pigmented and they're light fast. How much light fast? Well, we don't really know, but they're supposedly light fast. So we're working our way from our warmest color to our darkest color. Exactly. So a lot of times when you think you're hungry, you're actually thirsty. So try having something to drink instead of something to eat, which would be why lately you see me on camera a lot with cups of tea. And keep yourself busy. A lot of us are boredom eaters. So keep yourself busy so that you don't get too bored. That's a lot of red on that house. I love how watercolors move too. That's one of the things I like about them. It's one of the things I've always liked about them. Okay, some green. I'm doing not too badly considering I don't have my reading glasses on. I drink a lot. I try to stay with decaffeinated tea because I have high blood pressure. That runs in my dad's family. Where is that little piece of fuzz? And I drink a lot of green tea. Stash makes an organic lemon ginger, which is nice. And this is Bigelow's decaffeinated green tea. Also, is it TAZO? I don't know how you pronounce that. They make a bramble wine that's not, it's not decaf, but it's low caffeine. Yeah, see, don't do that. You got to get out of that habit. Have a glass of like a fruit flavored organic tea or something with no sugar in it, but you know, something that tastes a little bit on the sweet side. Don't put any sweetener in it. I drink my tea unsweetened, room temperature. These are really well pigmented. Like I'm having to kind of be careful about how much paint I put on where. And they blend nicely on the paper. Like I'm getting this nice like gray color right here without even trying. It's all about just changing your routines up and trying something different, whether it's when you are tempted to go snack on candy, sitting and doing some art, or going for a walk. It's all about just developing healthier routines, which is easier said than done. I'm the first one to tell you that. No sweetener. I never have drank my tea with sweetener. And I like my sugars and stuff, but I've never been like a huge like eat candy all day kind of girl. So For me, it's always been a matter of not moving enough because, you know, I'm not big on exercise unless I have to be. I'm trying not to say that anymore because, you know, exercise is good for us. So that's not bad. Let's try the Prima. I don't drink any soda, drink a lot of water. I drink a lot of decaffeinated tea. All right, let's try our Prima paints. Again, these, you know, these cakes, they dry really fast. All right. I'm a big boredom eater. So, and I don't do, when I say I don't do boredom well, that's one of the things that, yeah, green tea is really good for you. I drink a lot of the green tea, or I've been known to have 2 tea bags in my cup. I'll have 1 lemon ginger and then a green tea. I've done that plenty of times. Yeah, once you get used to having little or no sugar in your diet, it's like switching to low salt. Once you do it and you get in the habit of it, then you kind of almost can't go back. You have things that are really normally sugary, and you're like, ew. And I don't know what it is about the tea. It's something in my Italian family. None of us like our tea really sweet. We all like it room temperature unsweetened. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you in that regard. It's a family thing. I don't do too many flavored teas. And I don't like them too, like, flowery. The bramble one is wine one that I just found is the only one that I can really stand. I do put sugar in my coffee. It's the one thing I put sugar in, but I use coconut sugar, which is supposed to be better for you, lower glycemic index and all that. So I switched to that a while ago, and I like it better. When I do put, if I don't have that, I use raw sugar. And it's the only thing I add sugar to. I don't drink soda or anything. And I only have 2 cups of coffee a day. No worries, Nancy. We're just doing our swatches. We're working with Prima and Prang today. So 2 real affordable brands. And what we're noticing about them is, although they're affordable brands, they're fairly well pigmented, but they and they blend really well. I think they're good for their brand. And we're just chatting about blood sugar. You know, the fact that all of us just sit on our butts and paint all day and probably eat too many of the wrong things. Because, you know, me and my big mouth. Did anybody notice that after Monday's broadcast, I accidentally deleted all the footage when we were jelly printing, and then we were discussing menopause? You never know what I'm going to talk about when we start these broadcasts. See, I don't like it cold. Room temperature, unsweetened. Like this is warm. This is a little bit warm, but that's okay. I don't like it too hot or too cold. Yeah, I think it's kind of a, you know, my grandmother was from Italy. She wasn't born here, so I think it's an old country thing to have like warm, not too hot or not too cold tea. I don't remember her serving a lot of tea when I was little, but she must have. No, it's probably me because, you know, I don't keep secrets from you guys. My husband calls me Chatty Cathy. You know, I tell everybody everything. So these are the Primas, and like the Prang, you know, they're not as well pigmented as the artist watercolors. I will say that, but they're not bad, and they blend nicely on the paper. I'm getting these gray tones without even trying. They're blending when I don't want them to. Which, that could be good or bad. Gabby, yeah, exactly. I'm Gabby, very Gabby. My husband has to remind me sometimes not to tell people certain things. Like, you know, if we go to family functions and he says, don't, you know, tell them this or that. Like when he was going through cancer testing, he said, I don't want you to tell anybody. He doesn't have it, by the way. It was negative. So, but it was not allowed to say anything to anybody. I think the Primas also blend too much. You have to really dry them in between your colors. They do lift well, though. I noticed that last time. So that's not bad. All right, let's go to the next test. Let's do a color wheel. Yeah, see, I've got my cup of tea. And I have a habit of using the same tea bag like 4 or 5 times. So by the end, it's really just like lightly colored water. My husband said last night, you know, honey, we can't afford for you to use more than 1 tea bag a day. I just laughed. So we'll do number 5. 1, 2, 3, and then we'll do a red, which was number 3. 1, 2, 3, and then we'll do the blue, which was number 8. And then for the prang, we will do number 5. It's funny that both of their yellows are number 5, and they're close in color, but they're a little bit different. They use the same color numbers. I don't know if that means anything. And then for the red is number 1. Yeah, and these are inexpensive watercolors. These are not proper, you know, artist professional watercolors. Yes, they have some light fastness, but these are affordable watercolors, and look how brilliant the colors are. And look how well they like blend together on the paper without even trying. Look at this prang one. This one's almost dry. I love that. All right, so now we're going to do our color wheel test. And for this, we're going to need our plate. All right. Sip of tea. Oh, I'm glad you're doing something, Nancy. So when you guys are tempted to go have candy or something, pick up your paintbrushes instead, get your beading out, your crochet hooks. Keep your hands busy doing something else. And don't forget to take a break and go out for a walk, even if it's around the block, or, you know, if you're the kind of person that you have trouble leaving the house, that's fine. Go walk up and down the hallway, get some steps in somehow. It looks like it does, right? It looks like it has a little bit of ochre color to it. You're not wrong. So the prang paints are they were $11 and change, I think, on Amazon. This is the 16 half pan semi-moist prang set. So maybe somebody could look it up while we're here. And then the Primas come with 12 colors in each set. And the one we've been using is the classics. And they're, I think, 25, and they come in the nice metal box. The prang come in a plastic case. And they come with a paintbrush, but I haven't tried it. I don't know that it's the world's best paintbrush. All right, so let's try this. So we're going to do, the Primas are in front of me, so let's do the Primas. So number 5 is the yellow. So we'll put the pure color here in that section of our color wheel. That's for me, Nancy. It's not what I'm eating, because I eat pretty well. I mean, you know, I have my, you know, moments where I have something I probably shouldn't have, but I don't do it too often. I almost completely cut potatoes out of my life, stuff like that. It's really all about not moving enough, which is why I started going to the gym. Oh, see, 820, I was wrong. Just make sure you get the semi-moist and not the other ones. The semi-moist are a little better quality paints than their cakes, and they're better pigmented. Oh, see, 1050. So get the semi-moist. That's important. When you're searching Prang 16 half pan semi-moist. Yeah, take the dogs for a walk, Nancy. God, I've got to drag my dog over to the vet's and get him his rabies shot. He does not like riding in the car. That's not going to be fun. I got to tell you guys. All right, so we're going to take some yellow on our plate, and we're going to mix it with red. About 50-50, and we're going to put that color here. I like my twinkling H2Os, and I have a big palette of them. I don't think you need a lot of them. I think, and I took a lot of my, I had a bunch of those sparkly pigment powders, and I can't think of what they're called right now. And I turned them into like a twinkling H2O by adding gum arabic to them. See, walk up and down the stairs first. That's a good idea. So I think with these Primas, you have to play a little bit more with blending to get different colors. Because I got 3 different colors than the original 2, but they're not really different. Perfect pearls, that's it, thank you. So I had a bunch of perfect pearl powders, and I mixed them with gum arabic and made a sort of a twinkly H2O. I have a big palette of that. I can get it out when we're done if you guys want. No, perfect pearls. It was perfect pearls. And I have way too many colors. When I first started doing this, you know, I was very much like the rest of you. I thought, oh, you know, the teacher says I need that, then that means I need to have one in every color. You don't really need to do that. So I would say pick, if you're going to buy twinkling H2Os, or if you have perfect pearls and you want to turn them into like a twinkling H2O, add some gum arabic to them until they get pasty. And any powder would work. Add some gum arabic to them until they get pasty, and then let it dry out, and they re-wet just like twinkling H2Os do. Pick a few of your favorite colors. Oh, that's the wrong color. Pick a few of your favorite colors and get those. Or if you're buying twinkling H2Os, you know, they have them in sets, like tropical sets and that. Pick a set with colors in it that you think you're going to use. But I wouldn't buy a ton of them, because you probably aren't going to use them all the time. You know, like I like to use mine if I'm doing a seascape. I'll add a little bit of a turquoise one or a white pearly one to the waves in the ocean to help me suggest, you know, the light hitting the water. Okay, so now we're going to do our blue and yellow. I had better luck mixing the blue and the red than the red and yellow. Yeah, so you have to, they come in sets just like similar to the Prima. Of course, they have more colors, so they have more sets. But so pick, you know, if you're like me, it's probably the tropical set, whatever set has turquoise in it. It is a binder that's used in watercolor paint. I don't know if I can find it right now. Let's see. See, my gum Arabic's not in the bottle it came in, because I put it in a different bottle. But it's a binder. You can get it in the fine art aisle. Winsor Newton makes one that's available like everywhere. And it's used to stick all the pigment particles together and have it stick to the paper, basically. So yeah, the praying, I had the praying. Oh, look, see what happened. I was not paying attention. And look at all that. Look at the muddy mess I got over here. That's not going to work. So when I first heard about praying, when I first started this, I had the praying glitter set and the praying metallic set, and I loved them. Later, I got the twinkling H2Os, but I liked the praying sets. All right, let's try that again. No. So you mix the gum Arabic is mixed with the pigment powders to bind all those particles together and make it into the paint that you see me using right now, and have it stick to the paper. Okay, so now that's the color we've already put on. So now we're going to add more yellow to some of that. Some paint companies use honey as a binder to stick their pigments together, and other companies use gum Arabic. I like the gum Arabic because it's not sticky in the palette. Paints that are bound with honey stay sticky and moist. They don't ever really dry out, and I like my palettes to dry out. Gesso is like a primer that goes underneath your paint. So that's different. And they do make gessos specifically for watercolor that are more absorbent than traditional gesso. So if you're having trouble working over gesso, you might want to switch to a watercolor gesso. Let's do the same one with the praying. That was the Prima. And Daniel Smith makes a clear watercolor gesso, which is fabulous. So that means you could do some kind of a mixed media collage background, put a layer of the clear watercolor gesso over it, let it dry, and then you could watercolor over whatever you put on there, which is really fabulous. Okay, so here's the yellow, which we've all decided already is a little bit ochre-y. And see, it's not just because, you know, at first I thought maybe it was because the pan was contaminated with something next to it, but it's not. It's just a little bit, it's a little bit less bright. It's a little bit ochre-y, more ochre-y than the Prima. And then red, this one. I think it's praying too. Is it praying that makes a set of metallic watercolors in like a CD case? That's really hard to find. I used to have one. I used them all up. And I think you can only get it at Dick Blick. Oh, no problem. I'll try not to delete this one like I did another one. Holy cow. I promise I won't delete this one. It's a good thing we were only jelly printing on Monday and there was, you know, I don't think there was a lot of reference material in there that you guys would want to refer back to because I deleted it by accident. I like this blue. Now there's in this set you have a blue and a turquoise blue and a blue violet and a blue green. It's got a lot of blues, but only one yellow, which is interesting. I know, right? Me and yeah, just me and all my brilliance accidentally deleted the video. Because, you know, technology, black thumb. I should just paint my thumb black. All right, so there's our yellow. We're going to grab some of our red. Let's see how well we can get these to blend and make secondary and secondary colors. So that's a, oh, that's in the wrong spot. So I'm not going to waste my paint. I'm going to put that here. And let's see, it's a good accidental test. Let's see how well it lifts. So I just have my brush just has water on it. And let's see how much of that will come off. Actually, kind of a lot. You know, I'm impressed. Some paints won't lift. And sometimes you don't want them to lift, but sometimes you do. Especially if you do like I just did. All right, so let's take our color and some of it and let's put more yellow in it. These blend very nicely with each other. For inexpensive watercolor paints, I'm pretty impressed. So let's add some more red and see what color we get. Very nice. I like that. Now, are they as well pigmented as even the Prima? No. You can tell just by the reds how much more pigmented the Prima red is than the Prang red. Although it could just be I had more water on the brush. Hey, Tammy. But they're pretty comparable. I think if you went with either one, you wouldn't be making a bad choice. Okay, so now let's do our blue and purple. So I've got some, I mean, blue and purple, or blue and red. Make purple. We're going to make purple. For watercolor, Michael? All of our Watercolor Wednesday videos are geared towards beginners. Once you have your set of watercolor paints and you've decided which ones you're going to buy, you should do these kind of tests and play and do these kind of blending tests with them. That's the first thing you should do. And then I have a bunch of Watercolor Wednesday videos here where I'm working in my journal, and almost all of those are geared towards beginners. There is one where I do dragonflies, and that's a really easy painting, and that's probably for a straight-on beginner who's not used to watercolors. I'd probably recommend that one or the sunflower one. So if you go to the Watercolor Wednesday playlist, there is a playlist, and you look for the sunflowers or the dragonflies, that's probably the two I would recommend that you start with. Okay, so now we're going to do our greens. But the first thing you do when you get your brand new set of watercolors is make a color key where you swatch all your paints. Then you need to do some blending tests. Then do your dragonflies. And we're going to be filming some watercolor stuff, I think, while we're in Las Vegas. And I'm sure that will be beginner stuff too. So, and I'm about to film today. I'm going to be filming another 4-part watercolor series where I pick 4 different brands of watercolor that we've swatched already. And I have a fairly simple composition in mind. And we are going to, it's going to be a 4-part video series. I'm going to film it today. It'll probably air while I'm gone. But that'll be something to look forward to. It'll be a floral inspired. Hey, Teresa. Probably, because I have them. It'll probably be, yeah, I will be at some point because they're water soluble. And I don't have tons, and I'm not going to go out buying tons, but I do have some. So those are our two color wheels. That's okay. I had trouble finding the feed too, Teresa. I couldn't see any of the comments there for a few minutes. It was really bugging the crap out of me, to be honest with you. Okay, so I'm going to do, this is a same, if you haven't seen me do this before, this is still color blending, just a different format. You don't have to do both of these. If you do one or the other, you're doing something. And if you have a large set of watercolor paints, like the Prima, that have a couple of different colors of yellow, a couple of different colors of red, a couple of different colors of blue, then do these color blending exercises, do a few of them with different colors of yellow, different colors of red. You know, like this one is 5, 3, and 8, but I could easily do it with 21, 19, and 36, which are different colors than the ones I used. So what colors of the primaries you use, what version is going to give you a different color blend. And it's a good idea to experiment with your set to see what you're going to get. And this is, you know, just a little bit different way to do it. So again, we're going to do, let's put it down here. And we do the pure color here and here, and then we blend in these 9 squares. So this is the prank. So we have number 5, number 1, and number 7. And the Prima is number 5, number 3, and number 8. I really detest colored numbers. I like color names, just FYI. That's going to be a problem for me. I like color names. Yeah, cool and warm primary wheels, exactly. All right, so let's do the praying first. It's in front of me. So we put the pure pigment here and here. Now I didn't reload the brush. And this square here is a little bit lighter, but pretty well pigmented. I got a lot of paint on my brush. It went pretty far without having to reload. Now, I think for here, that's a little faint. So I'd have to reload, but that's not bad. So where your squares meet, you would blend those colors together because we have yellow and yellow, then we just have yellow. So these 3 are always going to be yellow. So now we're going to do red. And more red. They usually, most of your better brands will list them on the tin or the tube. Some just don't. The Prima don't. The Prima only have numbers. This Prang set has names on it along with the numbers. It just depends on the set. So where these 2 lines meet is going to be more of that pure pigment. So here. And it's usually on the little pan of paint itself, or it's on the side of the cake somewhere. And if you buy a nicer set of watercolors like the Schminke, then each little pan is wrapped in paper and the name of the color is on the wrapper. So as you're unwrapping them, you should have your color key right there all drawn out and write the name down as your, I do think the Schminke though have it on the little pan somewhere, it seems like, or it might have been Winsor Newton. One of the brands actually prints it on the plastic pan, but they don't all do that. Yeah, I just use Strathmore or Canson, but I do have some Arches. I wait till it's on sale. Michaels owns a chain of stores called Aaron Brothers Art and Framing. They occasionally have really good sales on paper and paint brushes, like buy one, get one free. And although your first pad, if it's arches, might be kind of spendy, if you're getting the other one free, you know, it's not so bad. Yeah, I like Hanson. I like Strathmore too. I'd buy what I, you know, I just buy, I use whatever. As long as I can paint, I don't care. Unless I'm doing something for a customer. And, you know, I have to do some pieces for my sister. So I'll probably bust out the arches for that. But when I'm just doing this, this is just Strathmore paper. Sure. So wait for sale, especially on the paper. Wait for sales. And if you have an Aaron Brothers Art and Framing near you, then wait for them to have a sale. And when they have a sale on brushes or paper, that's when you go stock up. I'm all about the tips. So here I'm going to mix my red and yellow together because the red and yellow meet right here. And here I'm going to have the mixture be more red, and here I'm going to have the mixture be more yellow. So first let's do the more red. The Prang paints laid out nicely on the paper, I gotta say. I'm very surprised. I don't know why I'm so surprised, but yep. I started out with inexpensive paper because you really need to learn how the paint moves on paper, and what you can and can't do with it, what you like doing it with it and what you don't, before you switch to expensive paper. And I still use the cheaper Strathmore and that type of paper when I'm doing things like this. I agree with you completely, Teresa. All right, so now here and here we have the blue and yellow. This one we're going to make more blue. This one we're going to make more yellow. I also love that we have a community here on this when we are doing these live broadcasts that are all artists of all levels, and that we can, you know, have kind of an open forum to share tips. And I'm constantly learning things from you guys as much as you are from the broadcast. So I think that is fabulous. Use what you have. I'm going to actually put some more blue in that because I think that didn't have a lot of blue in it. Oh, that's better. Let's go over that again. That's much better. So the more water you add to your pigments, the less strong the color is going to be. Try to put this in the right square. So I added more yellow to it. There we go. Now here we are doing blue and red. So this one is going to be more blue. This one will be more red. So let's turn our palette and see what happens. See what kind of purples we get. Oh, that's a pretty purple. Add some more red to it. They're both pretty. I have once. Yeah, so just a little bit. Put water in it, Nancy. And one of the things that I have a problem with some of these is that there's no refills. So that's a big deal for me if you have a set like the Kuretake set and you use up all of like the blue and you can't easily get a replacement pan. They may have them for the Kuretake set. You just said that name, so that what popped into my mind. But that's a problem for me. Like the Koi, for instance, they have replacement tubes of color for some of their paints, but not all of them. I think that's a problem. Prima says they're coming out with refill pans for their paints, but they don't have them yet. I think that's a problem. I like to have a palette, and if I use up all of yellow, I don't want to have to buy the whole palette over again just to get more yellow. I use them all the time when I am out of town. I like them a lot. In fact, it's funny. I always bring a few regular travel brushes with me, you know, that the bottom pops up and off and it covers the bristles, but they don't hold water. I end up not using them, and I end up using the water brushes instead, the water barrel brushes instead. I like them. I still find myself doing the same thing where I'm putting it in water and then wiping it off on a rag, even though you don't have to do that as much, because I'm crazy. But I like them. I like the Pentel pen. I like the Koi water brush, and I like this one, Pentel. I just got given the Prima ones, and they, you know what? They're nice, and they have a lot of different sizes. I completely agree with you, Michelle. The Pentel have always been my favorite. So this is the Prima, and look at how bright both of those colors in. Again, I didn't reload my brush, and look, I can get this square color too. That's a lot of pigment on one brush. That's a good tip, Teresa. See, that's what I like about our little group. We help each other out. I love that. Okay, this is the red. It's a little dry. That's not the pigment or the paint, that's me, because it's a little dry. See, that's the Prima red. The Prima red is just really, the Prang are fine. If that's what you have, use them. I'm not going to say don't buy them. I wouldn't do that to you guys, but the Prima have lots of pigment. No, Teresa, please keep the tips coming. I think that's great. I love that we can share the ideas with each other and the tips and tricks. Hey, I don't know everything. I am no expert. I just love sharing about art, and I learn from all of you as much as you probably do from me. In fact, maybe more so. The red, the Prima red is fabulous. This is the blue, which is very close to an ultramarine blue. And some of the colors are pigmented better with others, and that's true of every brand I've ever come across. Like the red is fabulous as the yellow. The blues, not quite so much. Yeah, I got asked on the last live broadcast, the one I accidentally deleted, if I would help someone do the live broadcasting thing like we're doing now. And I said, sure, because I know exactly what not to do because I've made all those mistakes already. All right, so now we're going to do our red and orange and yellow, and do an orange here, a more red orange. Isn't that pretty? These blend nicely together with each other. And then we were just discussing them a little bit because somebody asked about gum arabic, and we got into a little bit of a conversation about watercolor gesso. There is also a conditioner you can get to put in your water to aid in your watercolors flowing better on the page. And I actually have never used it, so I can't tell you anything about it. Maybe Teresa has. They're very, aren't they? Very much. This is a good difference between the Prang, which is really, even though the semi-moist are, you know, a little higher quality than their regular ones, it's still a kid's paint, versus the Prima, which is a crafter's paint. So you have kids, crafters, student, artist, in my opinion. This is just my opinion. So you can tell where the differences are. Yeah, they hate the water. So you can use watercolor in the Delusions journals if you use a ground. You have to use a ground or you're not going to have results you like at all. And I've done watercolors in the journal by using a ground. And the best thing is to put your ground on the page and then just set that particular journal aside and let it sit for a day or two and then come back to it. Like the Daniel Smith ground is really better after it's been sitting for 24 to 48 hours. Golden has something called absorbent ground. Oh, that's not different enough. That works the same way. Pearlescent medium as well. Oh, that's good to know. Yeah, I'm going to get some of the water conditioner. I'm hoping they have it at one of the stores we go to in Las Vegas. It's one of the things I want to pick up and try. Okay, so now we'll do our blues and reds. I have lots of twinkling H2Os, so I don't know if I need the pearlescent medium. Yes, you can paint. So you have the whole fat over lean. Oh, that's yellow. Wait. Holy cow. All right, so you have the whole fat over lean rule. What does that mean? Okay, so you can paint oil over acrylic, but you can't paint acrylic over oil. It won't stick. You can paint acrylic over watercolor, but you can't paint watercolor over acrylic because it won't stick. The ground that you put the watercolor on has to be absorbent. So if you have an acrylic base, you need to cover that base with like a clear gesso or clear absorbent ground before you put the watercolor on, because it's not going to stick. And I would just get into the habit of, if you're going to do watercolor with acrylic, do the watercolor first. And go for it, Mary. And how do I know these things? Because I've done it wrong. And if you do, I do a watercolor over acrylic pages when the whole paper is not covered with acrylic. And then the watercolor paint will stick to the paper. It'll, the acrylic paint acts like a resist. I would use watercolor gesso. Oops, I just stuck my hand in that, didn't I? Oops. Okay, so I just did a video putting the koi in a palette, little round pieces with lids, and then put them away. Okay. Yeah, so you just have to be aware, Michael, and keep typing, Mary, and I'll answer the question. Yeah, so you have to remember that the acrylic paint is going to act like a resist, just like the oil paint will act if you put acrylic over it. It's going to resist the acrylic paint. So if you have a little bit of oil, anything on a page, the acrylic paint's going to want to go and stick to the raw paper and not to where you have the oil, whether it's an oil pastel or oil paint. The acrylic does the same thing with watercolor. The watercolor is going to want to go stick to the paper and not to the acrylic paint. You got them out. Okay. Painted watercolor. So you just want to be careful that you really spray that page with a fixative, because the paint may rub off. And yes, it's a good idea to thin them down, because if you don't thin them down enough, you still have the problem. Okay. Oh, they cracked. I don't have that problem so much with them cracking. It could be the environment where you live, but you might think about maybe adding a little bit of, occasionally, I shouldn't say that. Occasionally I have it with a tube paint that I've squeezed out into a palette, and after it dries, it cracks. I add a little bit of gum arabic to it, and that seems to take care of the problem. So I'll re-wet the paint and add some gum arabic to it. If you get really adventurous, you could pop those cracked cakes out, put them into a dish or a bowl, smush them up, mix them with some gum arabic, and then put them back. I actually know Jerry Bellini is not on here right now, but she had some old watercolor paints that were her mother's that were completely dried out. And she wanted to save them. They had, not only did she want to use them, they had some sentimental value. So she actually took them out of the tube, smushed them up, added gum arabic to them. They were dry. She didn't try to re-wet them. They were completely dry. And she added gum arabic to them and made them into a paste and was able to reconstitute all the paints. Like she cut the tubes open and they were just dried balls of paint. So I would try that. You could try just putting a little bit of gum arabic into the paint pan in its dry state. You could try re-wetting it and getting it, you know, real soft and then adding a drop of gum arabic, or you could just pop it out, crunch it up, add the gum arabic, get it pasty and stick it back. Sounds like it needs more binder. And if you live in a really dry, kind of arid environment, and remember people, when you do this with your watercolors, no matter what brand, and they've been wet like this, don't shut it right away and put it away, especially if you're in a humid environment, because they'll get moldy. So you want to, I just put these on, usually on the shelf above by my camera, and I leave them open for a day or two until they dry out. Then I close them and put them away. Yeah, so if you have any of your paints that have dried out like that in the tube, Mary, just take them out of the tube, and you might have to cut it open, put it in a little bowl, crush it up, and add some gum arabic. Yeah, and let them dry first. I even with the ones from the tube, I just, and the other thing is too, when you're filling your pans from the tube, if you just fill your pans like halfway, there's a piece of my hair in that palette, then the water, when you spray it or drop water in, has somewhere to go. So it doesn't like spill out all over the place. Yeah. Yeah. I still have this one from last week sitting up here because I was using it for something. And then I have this one sitting up here that I forgot what brand this is. It might be Grumbacher. I didn't want to wash all this paint down the drain, but I don't remember what brand it is. But they're right here on the shelf. I usually do. After a broadcast like this, it's usually, the shelf is usually full of drying paint palettes. And I'm going to film the the next 4-part watercolor journal page this afternoon. So by the time I'm done today, my shelf is going to be completely full with palettes. So they make lots of different mediums for watercolor, just like they do for acrylic. Teresa's right about that. There's all different ones, pearlizing ones to condition your water, watercolor grounds if you're working on paper, or another substrate that's not super absorbent. Some of them you'll find that you never need to use, and they're not, you know, they're pointless for you to try. You know, they depends on the environment you live in and how you're using your paints. I have not yet come across any of these companies. I've got watercolor paint stuck under my fingernail that have like samples like they do for some of the acrylic mediums. But if you have a friend that likes watercolor and you want to try a particular medium like watercolor ground or gesso or the water conditioner, maybe you guys could go in and get a bottle and split it or something. And see, that's just what was off my hands. Look at that. And the plate. Cool. I would love to see it. Nope. So they may be separated. So what you need to do is just remix them together. If the pigment has hardened and the binder has completely separated, then cut the tube open. Cut the tube open and pull the hard part out. If some of the liquid gets in there, it's fine. Crush it up and put some gum arabic in there and remix it. If it's just separated liquids, you just need to mix them back up. You could try leaving the cap on and just squishing the tube around, but I don't know that that's going to do a lot. You might want to just squeeze it out into, it's hard. See, okay, so cut the tube open with a pair of snips or scissors, sharp scissors. Pull the hard stuff out. That hard stuff is where your pigment, your color is. Yeah, you're welcome. So then take that and crush it up and then put gum arabic in it. And you'll have brand new paint. Oh, and I was going to show you guys. Speaking of gum arabic, so this is my sparkly palette. Some of you have seen this before. It's on a Lazy Susan. So these larger tubs are powdered pigment mixed with gum arabic, and all you do is wet them, leave them sit for a few minutes, and then they're just like the twinkling H2Os. You just mix them until they're pasty. And that's the same thing you would do with a dried hard tube of watercolor paint. And you have to cut it out of the tube. That's probably the hardest part. Stick it in a baggie or something, take it outside and whack that sucker with a hammer, get out some frustrations. Whack it with a hammer or a mallet. I just take my little bags and I would double bag it, and I take them out to the garage and I just sit them on the floor like I did with the rocks in the 5-minute video where I did the rocks, and I just whack them with a hammer. And then get it as powdery as you can, and then mix it with some gum arabic. Whether it's a dried up tube of paint or you have some of these Pearl X powders, it's the same process. And Teresa asked me about gouache, and see all the colors you have. I love my sparkly palette. Do you really need all these colors? Probably not. Yeah, you could do that. You won't be able to use it for food when you're done, so be aware of that. So this is a lot of colors of sparkly paint. You probably don't need all these colors. This is a lot of colors. I would pick a few of your regular colors. If you're going to buy the twinkling H2Os, like I said, pick a set that has like turquoise in it and buy that set, or whatever your favorite color is. Just mix it until it's pasty, like the consistency of like Elmer's glue. Sure. And I was going to say, Teresa asked me, I think it was yesterday or last night, about gouache, and she had some that dried out. Could you reconstitute it? Yes. I said, yes, don't throw them away. So gouache are like watercolor, only they're opaque. That's like the big difference. They reconstitute. So if you have gouache that you've squeezed out into a palette and they've dried up, don't throw them away. Just spritz them with water. They're supposed to dry up. I have one of them too. Hang on. Okay, I love these big round palettes. When I have friends over, we use these. This is my gouache palette, and you can see where these have dried in here. These are nice deep wells, and I don't fill them all up so that when I spray it, the water has somewhere to go. And this one that's cracked, I don't worry about that. It will reconstitute itself and turn it something like that the next time I get it wet. I did have some gouache pans. I popped them out and stuck them in here. And you just spritz the whole thing with water, and it reconstitutes itself just like with any other watercolor. And so this is my main gouache palette. I have a few different colors here that don't fit. They do smell like, I don't notice that my watercolor palettes have an odor. I do notice that the gouache paints have kind of an odor, and it must be the way they make them. And this is Reeves and Pelican. Okay, somebody's going to ask me, I know. Yeah, see, these aren't loose. Well, I shouldn't say that. This one has a loose piece. I'm not going to worry about that. But yeah, if that's bugging you and it's in a pan you want to take out somewhere, I would pop all of these out. I would crush them up, and I would add some more gum arabic to it and then stick it back, because it's probably just not, doesn't have enough. And the koi is not an expensive paint, so I would guess that they don't have enough of a binder. And this palette doesn't go anywhere. I'm not taking it in the car, so if they do that, I'm not worried. This is from a company called Robax Palettes, R-O-B-A-X. They have different sizes. This is the smaller one. This is the smaller one. Oh, yeah. Okay, hold on. So you guys are going to know now, those of you who are new to my channel, I really have this thing for watercolor paint palettes. Like, it's an addiction. It's a problem. So here's my other one. And I took the mixing tray and I glued bottle caps to it, and I made some more wells so I could add a few more colors, because, you know, that wasn't enough colors. And I do the same thing. So even, you know, even with these, they're only filled like halfway. And there's some cakes in here that I just broke up and stuck in the holes. And they come with a lid, the Lazy Susan, and then mixing trays. They're not cheap though, but they're great when you're having like arty friends over. Because I can just put these in the center of the table and we just can have fun. Of course, my dream studio has a place where I can have those out all the time. So I would just, it's really, you know, it really depends on what you're mixing the gum arabic with. So when I did the Pearl X powders, I just added a few drops, mixed it, a few drops, and mixed it until I had something that was like the consistency of a paste or a glue. You don't want it too hard of a paste. You want it a smooth paste. Like Elmer's, only maybe a little bit thicker. Oh, like gel medium. That kind of consistency, gel medium. So here's our two brands that we did today. And it's, again, it's probably going to vary how much gum arabic that you use depending on where you are and what your environment, your weather is like where you're at, how humid it is, how dry it is. You might need more or less depending. No worries. Hey, we're all, you know, playing with our watercolors, and we're all learning in the learning process. And so, you know, I learn from you guys as much as, you know, you do from me. So I love that we can exchange ideas back and forth. I don't know what that is. The square. I don't have that. Well, I'm not trying to type anything. I don't know if I can type. Oh, yeah, I can. Oh, I'm on an iPad. See, I could put emojis. Let's see what it'll let me do. Oh, yeah, I have all. Oh, wow. Some of them emojis are not in English. Let's see. Let's just get to the smiley faces. There we go. So I'm on an iPad, so I'm watching on one of my other YouTube channels, watching my own broadcast, so I'm able to put the smiley faces in. That GB Ahrens, by the way, is me. If you guys don't know that, because you're like, you know, haven't been paying attention, if I comment on your video or something and you see GB Ahrens, it's me. I have a couple of different YouTube channels. 3 actually, to be specific. Good, yay. One of you guys, by the way, one of you guys sent me an image of some paints that you swatched with a light fastness test. And I'm not sure if it's somebody here on this broadcast or it's somebody else off that's not here. If it's one of you guys, send it to me again. I'm looking for it because I was going to post it to the Watercolor Wednesday page today. And I'm having trouble figuring out that safe place I put it in on my computer. Yeah, it's, you know, it is weird to watch yourself on YouTube. Yeah, but because I have a couple of other accounts besides my main channel, I am able to watch other people. They don't know I'm watching necessarily. It's good if you have people that don't like you on YouTube and you can see if they're talking smack about you. Did I say that out loud? I did. Uh-oh. I know, right? You know me, Michelle. I put things in a really safe place and then can't find them for months. That's not good. I'm hoping it was Stephanie Parks because I have a couple emails from her on my computer and I'm hoping it's in there and I'm hoping it was her and then I can just pull it from there. So I'm loving these brushes. Well, yeah, it's happened. So I'm loving these brushes. These are the Royals, and I don't tend to spend a lot of my brushes. There's some beautiful brushes out there that work great. They're really expensive. I don't know about you guys. I don't have that kind of budget. So Princeton Select is like the top of the end for me. I do have a couple of really expensive brushes, but they cost so much money, I'm afraid to use them. If you're just learning, I would get something like Reeves or Royal, something that is inexpensive until you decide if you like it or not. I would not go spend a lot of money on either gouache or watercolor or acrylic paint or anything else until you know for sure that you like the medium. And that's the whole reason behind this whole book. I don't want you guys going out and spending a lot of money on anything if you don't even know if you like the medium. And even if you like the medium, maybe a brand like Schminke is forever going to be outside of your realm of being able to afford it. And there's nothing wrong with that. So there is affordable alternatives to having those kind of paints. There are lots of artist quality brands that are decently pigmented, that have lots of different colors and that are affordable. So I would try that by Crayola. You know, there's nothing wrong with Crayola. Be aware if you create something with a brand like Crayola, not knowing for sure it's probably not light fast, then that means over time that piece is going to fade. So if you really like it, use the fact that we have technology here in the 21st century and scanning your artwork into your computer to save it. All right. So, sorry, I'm distracted. I'm getting some Facebook messages. So use the fact that we all have computers and scanners and cameras to take photographs of the piece or scan it into your computer to save it, knowing that that Crayola paint, when you're experimenting, that is not probably light fast. So if you really love it, scan it. Keep it out of the light. Do it in a journal that you can close, something like that, okay? The Prang and Prima both claim to be light fast. They do not, either one of them, tell us how much light fast they are, but they both claim to be light fast. Crayola is not. I can tell you that from things that my daughter did for me when she was little, and she's 21 now, and they've all turned green, no matter what color she used, whether it was the paint or the markers. Prima and Prang are both very affordable. Van Gogh and Winsor Newton both have affordable student quality paints. So go with what you can afford, and that, you know, that goes for any medium. I'm distracted by other things that are going on in the chat. Can you tell? So that goes for any medium when you're starting out. I want you all to learn from my mistakes. Don't, when you're getting into this mixed media painting thing, go out and immediately think you need the best brand and you need every single color they make, because you don't need to do that. That's a mistake a lot of us make, but you don't need to do that. And then at some point you realize, you know, I bought all these, you know, whatever it was, oil pastels, and you know what? I really don't like them. Now what am I going to do with them? You need to join one of the Hoarder Arts website, Facebook pages. Yeah, you are distracting. I get distracted enough. I don't need your guys' help. Holy moly. So I really like the DecoArt Fluid acrylics and their artist acrylic. Okay. And I'll address the Crayola versus Reeves in a minute. So I really like the DecoArt Fluid acrylics and their artist acrylic. Now their artist acrylics not like the Golden Heavy Body, and their fluid acrylics do not have some of the colors Golden has. That being said, you could do with a lot of colors from DecoArt, which is way more affordable, and then buy some of those specialty colors that only Golden has from Golden. That being said, I love Golden Extra Heavy Gel Medium Matte. It's my favorite thing on the planet to collage down thick pieces of paper, and nobody else has really a product that's comparable. When I need something like that from a brand like that, I know I like that particular thing and nobody else has anything that's comparable, then I use a coupon. I make sure I go to one of the big stores that has it and I use a coupon. I wait till it's on sale, or I save up a list of things that I need, and then I order them all at once from like Dick Blick, and I order everything on that list I've been accumulating so that I can get free shipping. Something like that to give myself a break. Crayola won't perform like Reeves. Neither will the Prang. But you need to buy something that's affordable to try to see if you even like the medium. It's, you know, if you buy a $10 set of Crayola or Prang to try the watercolor and then you decide you hate them, you don't feel bad about donating it to Goodwill, or passing it on to a friend, right? And if you decide you love it, you don't feel bad about doing the same thing and upgrading to Daniel Smith or Schmincke. So I always, if you've not tried watercolor, figure out what your budget is and buy within your means. And then if you decide you really love it, then upgrade to something better. I love Liquitex glazing medium. I like it better than the Golden. Yeah, see, I don't paint with too many oil products because the chemical things make me cough and wheeze. So, and see, Michelle likes the Golden glazing medium. I like the Liquitex, and I'm happy with the Golden too. I switch back and forth. I'm not picky with glazing medium. I've also used glazing medium from the hardware store. That doesn't bother me either. But I did do a test last year, I think, maybe the year before, where I mixed acrylic paint with different mediums to see which one would stay wet the longest. And the one that stayed wet the longest was airbrush medium, which also thins out your paint and makes it a little bit glazy. So there's, you know, so there's that too, to confuse you more, because, you know, that's what I do. Golden Heavy Body is really expensive. So is Liquitex Heavy Body. And unless you're painting on canvases and you're doing fine art, I don't know that you need those heavy body expensive paints. So transparent glazes, I would, if you have airbrush medium or glazing fluid, either one of those will work. If you have hardware store water-based glazing fluid, that'll work too. But make sure you get the water-based and not the oil-based, because it won't mix with the acrylic paint. If you're just doing journaling, yeah, you don't need really expensive paints. If you're just journaling, that's the other thing. I'm happy to answer any questions like that you guys have. Because I've probably made already all the mistakes. So I think this afternoon I'm going to film a 4-part journal page. I'm going to do a floral design, and we are going to pick 4 more. We did this sheet before on the last 4-part painting. So I think on the next one, I'll probably do this selection of paints: Winsor, Newton, Van Gogh, Holbein, and Coir. Craft paint works. There's nothing wrong with craft paint. Now, the only I should say, the only acrylic paint that I've come across that I don't like is Artist Loft, the Michaels brand. I'm not a big fan of their acrylic paint. I'm not a big fan of the watercolor paint. It's just not very pigmented, and you're better off getting, in the case of the acrylic paint, a craft paint or Liquitex Basics, which is their student grade paint, than the Artist Loft paint. And in the case of their watercolor, you're better off getting a Prang semi-moist, or even a Crayola, or Art District makes a metal tin of cakes, and I've had that in the past. It's Art District, not Artist Loft, and it comes with the brush too. They're not great paints, but they're better than the Artist Loft. They're horrible. I have heard interesting things about their paper. I haven't tried it. Somebody asked me to, but it's hard for me to get into a Michaels and go shopping because I have to have a mask on and take medication. Their potpourri stuff makes me wheeze. If you have them already and you're not going out and buying paints, Lisa, then definitely you can. Yeah, those places are fun, Tammy. And yeah, craft paint. I love craft paint. I don't mind Liquitex Basics. There are some colors in the Liquitex Basics I love. They have a dioxazine purple that's just fabulous. I think that's what it's called. I have it around here somewhere. There's also a brand at Aaron Brothers, again, art and framing, that you can get called Amsterdam. And I've seen it at a couple of other stores. And it's a student grade paint, but it's better pigmented than, way better pigmented than Artist Loft. Amsterdam. All right. So now I have to put my book back together. Go into what in Vegas, Michelle? Are you adding more stuff to do the to-do list? You know we're only there for a week, right? So one of the other things I'll do when I'm today is I will swatch my inventory of these 2 brands of paint. My daughter and her boyfriend, who are totally not into art. Daughter's a photographer. Boyfriend is a math major. He's going to study to be for a CPA. He's the least creative type. I think the only other person I know less creative is my husband, who's a similar personality. They went to one of those and they had a blast. Oh yeah, oh thanks, Michelle. Yeah, because it's like a pain in the neck, and even with the mask on, I end up getting a headache. But I keep getting asked to try the Artist Loft paper, and it's just, yeah, I have trouble getting in the store. Which my husband says is not a bad thing because it means I don't spend so much money at Michael's, but he doesn't realize I can go to Hobby Lobby. So I don't know what to tell him. I do go to Hobby Lobby. I have similar problems at Joann's. There's something about those stores. They have some potpourri or something. Yes, I know how. So when you get, I'm going to answer the Liquitex basic question. If you guys haven't seen it, how to get all of the tube out of the Liquitex basics or any tube of paint. Get yourself a big pair of scissors. Cut those suckers open. When you get down to where the tube you cannot squeeze out paint, but you know there's more paint in there. I hate to waste paint. I have a bunch of the little, these are the Gladware disposable containers, tight fitting lid. These are meant for like salad dressing. So cut the tube open and use a palette knife to scrape all that paint out into one of these. Cut it smack in half and just dig that paint out of there. I would show them to you, but they're out in the garage. But I have this giant pair. They're about this long of metal snips. It looks like a giant pair of scissors. They're meant for cutting sheet metal. And they're great for cutting all kinds of tubes open. They're nice and sharp. You probably could use these kind of scissors. These are from Harbor Freight. They're pretty good. Oh, no, these are the Stampin' Up ones. I don't know what these. I have some from Harbor Freight. Oh, here they are. These are nice and sharp, and they're cheap. But the metal snips are not bad. Yeah, any bottles, Mary. I do that with all of my paints. When I get down to that point where I know there's some in the bottle and it just won't come out, I just cut that sucker in half and dig it out with a palette knife. And if I have a bunch of different kinds of like purples that are like that, then I just put all the purples in one container. I mean, because honestly, at that point, it doesn't matter. Yeah, even your friends who don't maybe, you know, think that they would be interested in that, you'd be surprised. They end up having fun. Of course, my daughter said, now don't say anything because I'm going to bring this in and you're going to tell me all the things that are wrong with the composition. I don't want to hear it. I said, I would never do that. Why would you think I would do that? I won't do that. Yeah, so I would just do that. And sometimes if I'm really being anal about it, I will squirt a little bit of water into the cut end of that tube and like swish it around and then dump that out in there too. I know, right? Look at how thick it is, and we're not even done yet. I might need to order bigger rings. Now you can get these binder rings really huge, but you have to like special order them like on Amazon. Yes, my Deco Art is carried by Michaels, and I think Joann's. I know Michaels has it. You can also get it from the Deco Art website. I think, Michelle, that was Shannon Green that you're thinking about with the meetup. Tin snips. That's it exactly, Lisa. So tin snips. Get a big pair of tin snips. They're your best like hobby tool. Every hobby room should have tin snips and a hammer. I love tools, but that might be because my dad's a mechanic. That's something you all don't know about me. When my studio was in the garage, I had my old toolbox full of tools. They don't carry all of the Deco Art products, but they have a lot of them. So you might want to look and see what they have before you do any ordering. Oh, see, you have to go to a specialty store. Around here, it's just easier for me to just order them. Yeah, paint party. But you can get like binder rings like really big. Like I think the biggest I saw was like 3 inches or something. All right, I think that's it. I am going to go take a shower now because I'm still in gym clothes. And I have to go to the grocery store. because the daughter took the last of the lunch foods to work with her. And I need more tea. See, my cup is empty. There's nothing in there. DecoArt paint, Michaels, or from the DecoArt website. And all of the Prima paints you can get from Prima, or or Amazon, and the Prang semi-moist are also from Amazon. I have not seen either one of these yet at any of the craft store, at Hobby Lobby. I shouldn't say any of the craft stores because I really only go to Hobby Lobby. It's the only one I can breathe in. No worries. It's great to be here with you guys this morning. And yeah, I'm going to do the 4-part painting this afternoon and the inventory swatches, and I'll get the website updated today too. So look for that sometime later this afternoon or tomorrow. You too. Don't forget to do the most important thing, everybody. Something nice for yourself, because you deserve it, right? And we're going to all keep each other motivated. We're going to move more, eat sweets less, drink more water and green tea, right? More green vegetables. I am not a vegetarian, but you know, you can eat a little bit of your meat with a bunch of green vegetables. All right, I'll see you all later. Have a fabulous day. All right, bye guys.